Kia ora tātou katoa, e ngā manuhiri o ngā hau e whā, nau mai hara mai ki Watch Kaikoura, ko te tūmanako kia pai tō tātou haerenga, ki te mā takitaki, i ngā toho rā noho pai mai. Kia ora everybody, and welcome to Watch Kaikoura. My name is Josh, and I'll be your host for this online tour. So let's just get straight into it. Now, Watch Kaikoura was first established back in 1987. 4 families actually put their houses up for mortgage to actually start the company. Now, when they mortgaged their houses, they also bought their first boats, and their first boat that they bought was a 6-meter, 12-seater Naiad. Now, today, 2024, we actually have 2 25-meter long catamarans, and they can fit up to 109 passengers. That is 97 downstairs and 12 upstairs in the VIP captain's cabin. In the first year of operation, we had 3,400 customers. Today, we get more than 100,000 customers come to us to do a tour. So you're probably wondering why we get so many different species of marine life coming to this area of Kaikoura, and that is because we have a secret beneath us. Now, roughly 3 nautical miles south of the Kaikoura Peninsula, we have a big underwater canyon, and this here is known to us as the Kaikoura Canyon. The Kaikoura Canyon, the average depth of water is 1,000 meters. At its deepest point, it is 1,600 meters, and at its widest point, it is 5,000 meters. This here, ladies and gentlemen, the Kaikoura Canyon, it is a feeding ground for the male sperm whales. Now, to give you another idea of what this canyon system looks like, on this image here I've got 2 letters. Now I've got P. P stands for peninsula. 3 nautical miles south of the peninsula, it drops off into deep water. Now if you were to travel by car or any vehicle 20 minutes south of the Kaikoura township, you'll arrive to a place called Goose Bay, hence why the G's there. Roughly 1 nautical mile from Goose Bay, it drops off into over 1,000 meters deep. So this here will give you a nice aerial view of what the Kaikoura Canyon actually looks like. So if you were on the boat with us right now and you're traveling out on the ocean, as you can see here, there's our whale watch boat, there's our speed, and there goes the depth gauge. Now if you keep an eye on that depth gauge, watch it change dramatically. As we go over the continental shelf and enter into the Kaikoura Canyon, I'll drain away the water and check out that spectacular view of the Kaikoura Canyon. All of the underwater mountains there, look how quick it drops off into deep water. Now that's an angle going back towards the coastline, towards Goose Bay. The continental shelf's directly behind the vessel there. So this here is actually a new tool that we use on the boats, and this here actually gives everybody a good experience of what the canyon actually looks like. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this here is the star of the show, the mighty male sperm whale. So, whales themselves, they are split up into 2 different groups. One group being called baleen whales, or mysticeti, and the other group being called toothed whales, or odontoceti. The sperm whale, it is the 4th largest whale out of 81 different species of whales, but it is the largest toothed whale. The sperm whale does hold a couple of records that we know of. It is the deep diving champion, diving over depths of 2,500 meters, and also the other record that we know of, the sperm whale can hold his breath for the longest, and both of these records have been recorded off the coast of Sri Lanka to hold its breath over 2 hours and 18 minutes. So you've probably heard me say male sperm whales quite a lot. Now this is because we only get males in this area of Kaikoura. Now the main reason why is because the water is far too cold for the females. Females are found up near the equator where the water is much warmer, around the tropics, the Azores and the Galapagos Islands. Average size male sperm whale is anywhere between 14 to 16 meters long and also weigh anywhere between 40 to 60 ton. To give you an idea, our vessel right here in this picture, Te o Marama, as I was saying, these vessels of ours are at a length of 25 meters. The ocean's cabin downstairs though is at a length of about 15 meters, and the boat itself actually weighs about 55 ton. So you just picture something the length of our ocean's cabin, but the same weight as our boat, and that will give you a good comparison of how large these male sperm whales are. So there's two ways how we track down sperm whales. We use our eyes and we use our ears. Now with our eyes, all of the crew members on the boat are looking out for this, just a whale spouting out of its blowhole. Sperm whales themselves, they are on top of the surface to reoxygenate for 5 to 10 minutes, and every 10 to 15 seconds they will spout out of their blowhole, looking exactly like that, a puff of water coming from the surface of the ocean rising up to 2 meters. Now the other way that we track down sperm whales is the captain. He has a piece of equipment on board called a hydrophone, or also can be known as an underwater directional microphone. On the hydrophone, he can hear sperm whales echolocate around 5 nautical miles away, and the sound that he will listen for is a clicking sound, very similar to the clicking of your fingers or the ticking of a clock. So this here is actually the sound of a sperm whale, and it has been recorded the other day. Now this next one is actually a sperm whale feeding. This is actually known as machine gunning. So you notice that whale speeds up its clicks. So I actually had an opportunity to talk to the captain that does all the tracking, and this is what he had to say about the tracking process with the hydrophone. Kia ora everybody, I am joined here by one of the skippers here at Whale Watch. So what was your name, sir?
Pakiana Hawk.
Awesome. So just want to talk to you about the tracking process there, Puck. So when you're tracking a whale on the hydrophone, what sort of distance can you hear a whale under the water?
About 5 to 10 miles, all dependent on the salinity of the water and wave condition. So yeah, but 5 to 10 miles.
Yep. So if it's quite a bumpy day and the conditions are, making everybody a bit seasicky, what sort of range can you pick up a sperm whale? Obviously it depends on the clicking of the whale as well, as there will be a lot of disturbance around.
Yeah.
But if it's quite an average day, 1.5 meters, 2 meter swell, what sort of range would you sort of put it down to?
Like 2 miles.
2 miles?
Yeah, about a 2 mile range.
Yep. And do you get confused sometimes when you're listening on the hydrophone and there's a few whales around?
If there's a couple, it's very hard to distinguish them from each other. You basically sort of just got to sit in the middle and try to guess if you're close to one, really, because there's clicks all around you.
So there's 3 ways that these sperm whales can surface. Now the most common way is logging. That's when they come up to the surface of the ocean and just look like a log. And a very uncommon way is lobtailing. This is when they come up tail first and slap their big huge tail on the surface of the ocean. As you can see in this image here, this fella here come up and he's actually gone to the toilet as well. The most spectacular way to see a sperm whale surface though is breaching. This is when the whale actually comes from the depths of the ocean at speed and they reveal most of their body out of the water before making a huge splash. Breaching and lobtailing, it's not confirmed why they do it. Some say it's got an itchy skin, maybe an upset stomach. But our main giveaway, how we know that a whale is actually coming up to the surface, is when I was playing all of those recordings before of what the whale sounds like. That means that they are deep down hunting around for food or navigating their way in the darkness. When we know that the whale is coming up to the surface, they actually change their frequency to a very high frequency that the human ear cannot hear, and that tells us that the sperm whale is coming up to reoxygenate. So I am going to move on to the next part, and that is when a whale is on the surface of the ocean. So with this, I actually talked to one of the sea crew members when we were sitting next to a whale, and I asked her a few questions about what the whale was doing. So check this bit of footage out. Okay, kia ora everybody, I'm joined here by one of the sea crew right here, and we have
Fiona.
Cool. So what we've got here is obviously a sperm whale up on the surface. So what's the sperm whale doing right now, Fee?
So whilst he's on the surface, he is reoxygenating his blood, he'll be digesting his food, and he may also be using the surface as a toilet as well.
Awesome. And how long are they up on the surface for usually?
Average time is between 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more, but average 5 to 10 minutes.
Awesome. So how long will they go under for? So if they're up on the surface for 5 to 10 minutes, how long will they be underneath the water for?
Average dive time for here is usually 45 to 60 minutes. Some parts of the world it can be well over 2 hours, but yeah, quite lucky here, 45 to 60 minutes is their average dive time.
Awesome. So like if you were new here and you didn't know what was going on, obviously you'll just think, oh, it's just chilling out there, but it's obviously up doing some, well, filling his body up with fresh air.
Yep.
Now, why do they have to go to the toilet on the surface? Why can't they do it down underneath the surface of the ocean?
So when these guys are at the depths of the ocean, they're not able to carry out other bodily activities, so it's just their brain and their heart that function. Everything else essentially gets switched off.
Awesome. So is this whale about to dive now, is it?
Yeah, looks like it. It's going to start to arch that back, and fingers crossed he'll give us a tail.
Whoa.
Hey.
Even got some birds flying over too.
Yeah.
So how could you tell that that whale was about to dive then?
So normally when these whales are sat on the surface, their tail can hang underneath them, helping to keep them quite stable. And then when they're just about to dive, that tail comes up to just about the surface and they sink all the way under, and that's typically what we look out for. And then when they're about to actually go into the dive, that's when they start to arch that back.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. So obviously this whale's going back down now.
Yep.
How fast can this whale move as he's going back down to the bottom of the ocean?
It could be several tens of metres every minute or so. Yeah, they can move pretty fast when they want to, I believe.
Awesome. Cool. So with that whale showing his tail, do they always show a tail, or is it just depends what they're up to, or if they're feeling up to it or whatnot?
Pretty much we like to say 90% of the time they'll show us a tail. Every now and again they can just slip away on us. So if there's a lot of food very close to the surface, they don't need to do a deep sea dive, so they don't need to bring up that tail. But sometimes they can also fall asleep on us as well. So that's when they'll just kind of slip underneath the surface and they'll have a little nap.
Awesome. Oh, thank you for that information, Fee, and hopefully we get to see another one.
Yeah, no worries.
So this next part I'm about to show you is actually a new simulator that we have. Now, what I've got here is actually a sperm whale when they are underneath the surface of the ocean. So as you can see in the top left hand corner, I've got the temperature of the sea, we've got the depth that it's at. Also up in the right hand corner, what sort of mode it's doing, hunting mode at the moment, how long the whale's been down for. We've actually got the pressure as well, and that speed there is actually the speed of the whale. What I can do with this as well, I can actually drain away the water and give you a look at what the canyon system looks like with the whale in there. Now you may see down the bottom there Tiaki. Tiaki is actually a semi-resident whale that stays in this area of Kaikoura for a number of months. Tiaki himself has been returning back to this area of Kaikoura for many years now, at least 2 decades. So this simulator here, it actually gives all of our passengers a good idea of how long the whale's been down for, what they're feeding on, and also how deep they are. It is all run off real time, off our GPS and whatnot. So as you can see, when the whale is coming up to the surface, see the temperature of water changes and it actually starts to warm up, because deep down it is 0 degrees Celsius. You actually notice that the pressure is not as intense as they're making their way up to the surface of the ocean. This here is still at about 145 meters of water. Now once it comes up to roughly about 50 meters of water, you'll see a dramatic change. See 33 meters of water, 9.4 degrees Celsius, 9.5, and the pressure of the water. So this is when the whale's coming up to reoxygenate. Been under for roughly 43 minutes, and now he's ready to fill his body back up with fresh air. This here is actually a very awesome simulator, and it gives everybody a great idea of how these whales work. And there goes that whale up on the surface, filling his body back up with fresh air, and then he'll go back down on another deep feeding dive after 5 to 10 minutes of reoxygenating. So why whales come to this area of Kaikoura? Yes, because we have that big underwater canyon here, but also some of the food that the sperm whales can feed on. Now, sperm whales like to feed on a large variety of sharks, such as the plunket shark, or also can be known as the black shark. They're known to feed on the world's fastest shark as well, being the mako shark. Many more, such as the great white and also blue shark, but they feed on a large variety of fish, such as kingfish. Now, here goes a cool little image of a sperm whale with a kingfish inside the mouth. They feed on hoki, hapuka or groper, many more such as tuna and ling, but 65% of the sperm whale's diet is squid. Large varieties of squid being from small to large. This is because squid do not have any bones, but they do have a beak, and the beak is the only part that the sperm whale cannot digest. I'm going to play you a presentation now about the two different groups of whales. So first up on the screen is a sperm whale, largest tooth predator on the planet today. Now here goes a close-up shot of inside the mouth of the sperm whale. As you can see, small tongue for the body mass, but a very large throat. To give you an idea of how large the throat size of this creature is, scientists, they have done autopsies on a sperm whale. Inside of them they have found 3-meter long mako shark still intact, and they also came across a 44-gallon drum which was also still intact. On the lower jaw they got round about 50 cone-shaped teeth, each tooth being 20 to 25 centimeters long. Baleen whales, for this presentation we're using a humpback whale. On the top jaw of the humpback whale they've got a large baleen plate, and that orange score fish inside the mouth, that there is krill, and krill is only about 1 to 2 inches big. Close-up shot of inside the mouth of the humpback whale, complete opposite, has a very large tongue but a very small throat. To give you an idea of how large the throat size of this creature is, it is only big enough just to fit an apple or an orange down there, or just clench your fist. Anything larger than your fist going down the throat of this type of whale, they will choke. That's why they only feed on smaller schooling fish such as herrings, plankton, sardines and krill. So this presentation here is actually all to do with the Kaikoura Canyon. Now you will see two sperm whales approach our vessel, and then we will begin to drain away the water and take a look at the steep cliff faces and also at the rocky bottom. This presentation was actually made a few years ago, but they did a very good job when they made this. There goes the Auckland Sky Tower. The Auckland Sky Tower stands at a height of roughly 330 metres. Now if we were to stack 5 Auckland Sky Towers on top of each other, it would only just break the surface of the ocean at its deepest point in the canyon. There goes a good view of the Kaikoura Canyon with no water in it, those steep cliff faces also at that rocky bottom. Now what we're going to do, we're going to fill the canyon back up with water and take a look at the different species of marine life that live at the bottom and work our way back up towards the top. Cool. So, 300 meters below the surface of the ocean, there is no sunlight whatsoever. Some fish do produce their own lighting, such as jellyfish and also squid. And all those other colours you can see up there is known as bioluminescence. Deep down in the ocean, in the Kaikoura Canyon, you can find plunket sharks or black sharks, part of the sperm whale's diet. Conger eels can also be found deep down in the canyon. The famous Architeuthis ducks or the giant squid. The giant squid has the largest eye out of any creature or mammal on Earth, same size as a soccer ball or a very large dinner plate. This school of fish here is known as hoki. This is New Zealand's most exported fish. If you have been to McDonald's and had a fish o fillet burger, this is your fillet. Next up we have hapuka or groper, very famous in Kaikoura for the winter time. Usually when we get our first drop of snow on the mountains, a lot of commercial fishermen will start catching this type of fish in their nets. Hundreds, if not thousands, of arrow-headed squid. Arrow-headed squid only grow to a maximum length of roughly about 30 centimeters. The great white shark can be found out here in Kaikoura on rare occasions. Now these dolphins here, they are the world's most smallest and shyest dolphin, only found here in Aotearoa or New Zealand. They are known as the Hector's dolphin, Tutu Mairekurai, special ocean dweller. The number one apex predator in the ocean, the orca or killer whales. It is the world's largest dolphin, only get their name killer whales because they are the only thing in the water to kill whales. Groups of kingfish getting chased by the fastest shark in the water today being the mako shark. And the humpback whales coming through and feeding on a very large school of krill. And coming up on the screen now, ladies and gentlemen, is the largest creature ever to be recorded on planet Earth. It is the blue whale. Largest blue whale to be recorded by man was a female. She measured in over 33 meters long and she weighed over 220 ton. A Volkswagen car could fit inside the heart of this blue whale. A human could fit inside the heart arteries, and the tongue of that blue whale weighed exactly the same as an African elephant, which was 5 ton. That there, ladies and gentlemen, was the Kaikoura Canyon and the world of the whales. I hope you enjoyed. So I hope everybody enjoyed this online tour with us today. There is plenty of more coming out very soon. We'll be talking about different species of marine life, also about the company. Now, if you would like to just leave a comment of what you would like to see in these videos, and then I can try my best to make a video for you. I hope everybody enjoyed. Please be safe out there. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa, kia ora.